A Jefferson daycare teacher who molested at least 5 children is now serving life in prison. But parents here say he is not the only one who should be punished.
That's right. So some plan on suing Bright Beginnings Daycare over this abuse. 11Alive investigator Kristen Crowley looks into the allegations and why the daycare's owner now says she is not to blame.
Pain.
None of these children deserved any of this.
Anger.
Alex Tredway is a monster.
And insurmountable grief.
Mr. Tredway's actions has destroyed my daughters.
Families forever changed by a man they trusted.
His job was to care for our children, to protect them from the evil.
Alex Tredway was sentenced to life in prison for molesting 5 children at Bright Beginnings Daycare. But some parents say he's not the only one they blame.
Do you think the daycare was negligent?
I personally feel like they do have some negligence here.
According to state documents obtained by 11Alive, Alex Tredway continued working at Bright Beginnings for 3 days after the molestation allegations surfaced and was left alone with the children.
He worked Monday, Tuesday, and was picked up on Wednesday. He was with my child for those days.
Nobody in their right mind would have hired him not to work with children.
Tredway was 17 years old when he was hired by Bright Beginnings last year. The state requires a criminal background check, but since he was a minor, nothing showed up. Attorney Michael Ruppersberg says if the daycare dug a little deeper into Tredway's school history, they would have found a major red flag.
His school records showed that he had been caught having sex at school in the stairwell and in the bathroom multiple times, and that he had been disciplined for making sexually inappropriate comments to another student. You should not hire someone with that sort of behavior to take care of small children.
These are things that we found out afterwards. We didn't know either.
Paula Healy owns Bright Beginnings of Jefferson and says she didn't check Tredway's school history because the state doesn't require her to. She also says she and her late husband, Bob Healy, didn't pull Alex out of the daycare because they didn't think the accusation was credible.
We had found it not to be true, and the police said that continued to let him work.
But it turned out it was true.
You're right.
Healy says she dismissed the accusation because her staff spoke highly of Tredway, and her cameras never caught any of the abuse.
What would be your first step if a parent now came to you and said, one of your teachers kissed my child inappropriately?
I would go back and watch the cameras and show to them and ask them their judgment. Was it appropriate or not?
But we already know from this past experience, your cameras didn't catch all of that abuse.
Yes. And
so why continue to rely on them?
Be a good reason to take them out. You know, the state doesn't require cameras.
The state moved to revoke Bright Beginnings' license, and Healy is appealing. But even if she loses that license, it won't prevent her from having another daycare. In fact, she already has another location just down the road from Bright Beginnings, called Bright Beginnings 2.
I'm enraged.
They should never be able to have a daycare facility represented by them ever again.
Do you think the system in Georgia is failing you?
Oh, yeah.
These parents say they want to see stricter standards from the state and more accountability for daycares in hopes of sparing other parents and children from this trauma.
During our interview with Healy, she said she was working to reopen Bright Beginnings, but now she says she is considering selling. A judge should make a decision on her license in the next month or so.